Welcome to the January 8th, 2018 meeting of the Metropolitan Traffic and Parking Commission. If you are not satisfied with a decision made by the Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing for a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met. I'd first ask for an approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So approved.
We have a first. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. An approval of the minutes of the December 11th, 2017 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
We have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next thing is an approval of the consent agenda. We'll read the consent agenda. If anyone has an item that would like to be removed, please advise. Consent agenda 0118. Resolution. Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question on number J. Is that Clearview Drive from Woodlawn Drive to Woodmont Circle? Am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now we got that clarification.
And then also, I had a small clarification on D. I couldn't tell where the paving markings that were, and so that was just something I think that before that gets on the consent agenda, we might want to look at. But I wouldn't like to remove it, though.
Okay.
I'd just like to make a note of
Okay.
that.
We'll make it. What we'll do is we'll read all these consent items and then we'll ask a couple of questions.
Great.
Chip.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, proposal 2018M001AB001, a request for the abandonment of a portion of Rodney Drive from Hapwood Drive, approximately 327 feet northwest to its terminus. See sketch for details. Easement to be retained, requested by Kimley Horn. Item B, proposal 2018M002AB001, a request for the abandonment of Lenox Avenue from Orlando Avenue, approximately 300 feet northeast to its terminus. See sketch for details. Easement to be abandoned, request by Dell and Associates. Item C, authorized stop control on Rosedale Avenue at Rosedale Court. Is that correct, Chip?
It should be Rosedale Court at Rosedale Avenue.
Okay. Rosedale Court and Rosedale Avenue, requested by Metro Public Works. Please note the change. It's Rosedale Court at Rosedale Avenue. Item D, authorized residential parking permit on Meridian Street from Arrington Street to Gray Street, requested by Allison Brashear, and letter of recommendation from Council Member Scott Davis. Item E, authorized stop control on Corporate Place at J.P. Hennessy Drive, requested by Metro Public Works. Item F, authorized installation of traffic signal at 31st Avenue South and Vanderbilt Place, requested by Metro Public Works. Item G, remove valet stand at 2013 Belmont Boulevard, requested by Valet 1. Item H, authorize median parking on 5th Avenue North in front of Cordell Hall Building, requested by the state of Tennessee. Item I, modified speed limit on Orlando Avenue from Burgess Avenue to Charlotte Avenue from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour, requested by Metro Public Works. Item J, modified speed limit on Clearview Drive from Woodlawn Drive to Woodmont Circle from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour, requested by Metro Public Works. Item K, modified speed limit on Crescent Drive from Estes Road to Clearview Drive from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour, requested by Metro Public Works. Item L, authorized right turn restrictions from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday at Walmart exit at Old Hickory Boulevard, requested by Councilmember Blaylock and Metro Public Works. Item N, authorize installation of traffic signal at Central Pike and South New Hope Road requested by Metro Public Works. Item N, authorize 1-hour parking to create turnover on new Lifeway Plaza, formerly Joe Johnston Avenue, requested by Lifeway. That's the consent agenda. I think there was a couple of clarification questions. Chip? Yes.
I have one. Most of the time when we're voting, we go from 30 to 25, when we're reducing. On Clearview, we're reducing the speed from 30 to 20. Is a lot of pedestrian traffic.
A lot of pedestrian traffic. The width of the road is more like an alley, and alleys are 10, and it's just the operations of the road. It's not really like a road. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's more of a alley type operation.
Okay.
Both of those.
Okay. And then you had a question, Ms. Favreau.
Yeah, I understand that that there's a need for residential parking on the street. I just couldn't tell, if there was enough room for that to go in. So I just wanted to make a note that I'm sure that's something that staff will look into, but that it just appears like that the paving markings, the double yellow line down the middle of the street now may have to shift. I couldn't tell.
Okay. Ms. Marshall, any?
We will take all those items into consideration when we go out and mark for installation of the signs.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. That answers that.
All right. Being no further comments or questions, I move for approval of the consent agenda as read.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. Okay. Chip, I see that we have an item requested by Councilmember Sledge, and I don't see him.
Well, today's a unique day in Nashville. There's a lot
Yes.
going on.
Yes.
I'm sure he's a busy man. So we can go through the case, or I can request another 1 month off. I do want to pick his brain on this one. I hate to make a decision without him being here. So
Yeah. Why don't we, if someone could move for a deferral of business item 1, which is an appeal of denial of prohibition of left turn movement from 4 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday in Napoleon Avenue at Nolensville Pike.
Move to approve. Go ahead. You go ahead.
I make a motion to defer this, Chip, 30 days, one meeting?
Okay. We have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that item's been deferred. Okay, I see that Councilmember Potts is here. Did he have an item to discuss, please?
Oh, well, we might have to rescind our last action.
Yeah, I see him. He's here.
Oh, there he is.
Teresa, you might have to help us out on that. When does it become official? It's a 3-second rule, right?
Actually, there kind of is. You can reconsider a motion during the same session or meeting.
Okay. All right, so if we could get a motion to unrescind what we just did. We didn't think you were here, Councilmember.
Reconsider.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the previous motion.
Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Councilmember Sledge, you are up concerning the Napoleon Avenue left turn.
Yes, thank you, and Happy New Year, and I appreciate you giving me a little bit of leniency here. So this proposal came to me from neighbors who live at the condo complex that's right behind Casa Azafran. I think it didn't come before this commission, but previous efforts from Public Works, we put a similar no left turn on Rosedale, which is just south of Napoleon, both in the morning and the evening rush hour. Of course, what has happened to some extent is that some of that traffic has then filtered over to Napoleon to try and turn left. The reason I brought this forward and the reason we did it just for afternoon, just for the evening rush hour, is because that's where the counts were much higher on Rosedale when that count had been done. And the other issue becoming, as you can imagine, during the evening rush hour coming out of downtown, Nolensville is backing up, quite frankly, past the fairgrounds from 440 all the way into kind of the Winggrove intersection and the Moore intersection. So it's becoming almost impossible to turn left out of there already during these hours. And I think people thinking that they can do it is adding to, and it is contributing to a backup over there. So that's why I was requesting the evening left turn prohibition, because practically people shouldn't be turning left on there. There's almost no way to do it, and whenever anybody's trying to nose out into it, it's causing issues. I should note the other sort of informal left turn prohibition is actually at Casa Azafran for the pre-K during their dismissal hours and and coming in. They prohibit a left turn onto Nolensville during that time frame. So there's sort of an acknowledgement in this block, in this stretch, that left turns have become, if not impossible, very ill-advised. And I think we would do well to tell people, at least in the evening rush hour, if you want to turn left, you need to come down to Craighead, where there's a signalized left, and you can get down that way.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilmember. Anything to add from Public Works, please?
Very well said. Just south of there is Rosedale, and we at some point put in a no left turn during rush hour there. If you've been out there, he's 100% correct. It's very difficult to turn left from any of those side streets, and probably a 5-minute delay, and that doesn't sound like a long time, but you can get a pretty good cue if somebody's sitting there with their blinker on. We're not anti this prohibition. I just wanted this board to see it, because if you put in the 2 no lefts, because you do have one down at Rosedale just at the bottom of the screen there, if you do one to the north of the screen, it does create some rerouting for a couple hours a day. At the same time, if you're trying to pull out on Nolensville Pike at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a safety issue there too. So the approval of this is recommended. I just wanted this body to hear it, because it is a big deal for that area, because you're kind of isolating it from 4 to 6 in the evenings, that if you want to turn left, go to Craighead. And that's okay. Just wanted you to know about it in case you get stopped or approached on it.
Any comments?
Have there been any crashes at this location or at one of those turns?
Not that I'm aware of on Napoleon. Sorry, not that I'm aware of on Napoleon. At Rosedale, there was crash data, but not that I know of. I should also mention, I forgot to mention, the vacant lot that's just to the north of here is slated for redevelopment, and so there will be an increase in traffic count. It'll be mainly commercial, so it'll be pretty. It'll be an increase coming soon.
That's another good point. This area is going to change before next month's meeting. I mean, with the soccer boat and the changes in this area, this is probably just a temporary sign for us, and a lot of changes will be coming our way pretty soon down in that area.
Any other comments?
I guess one last question is, I know that in the PIP there was a discussion of a crosswalk right in front of Casa Azafran. Is that going to have to be signalized, or is that going to impact this?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the funding for that crosswalk was placed in the most recent CSP that we approved, and so I think I can't guarantee you it's going to be.
But there was no signal there. What was there to allow left turns? I can't remember.
Oh, I think I see where you're saying. No, there's no signal there, but I'm sure that's something that we'll probably be taking a look at.
The PIP does propose a signal at Casa Azafran, but I don't think you can cut through Casa Azafran to get to Nolensville. But yeah, there's
right. Yeah, that's right, because there's a separate property before that. Yeah.
I'll move to approve this item.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It's been approved. Thank you, council member. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, Councilmember Potts, I think you are requesting that we can look at it, consider it an item.
Yeah.
Right. Chip?
Teresa, this item, for some reason, isn't on this agenda. It's on next month's agenda, but we wanted to go ahead and hear from the councilman since he's here. And I'm going to let you direct us on what we should and shouldn't do as far as actions and how far we should take this. But what we're about to hear is not on the agenda itself. It's about an always stop. And we just wanted, while we're all here, we wanted to go ahead and hear the testimony.
So generally, the Open Meetings Act it looks for adequate notice prior to a meeting, and there is some case law that suggests as to regularly scheduled meetings, which I assume this one is, as opposed to a specially called meeting. that the specificity of the agenda is relaxed somewhat. So I would still say that probably your best practice would be to avoid deliberation and voting on an item that's not on the agenda at all, just because, there's still a maybe just public interest in having the ability to attend the meeting at which that occurs, and to have more specific notice of that beforehand. But certainly the council member can speak, and the commission members can ask him questions and kind of collect those responses, and then maybe, I would say maybe the best practice would be to hold their deliberation amongst each other for the following meeting.
That sounds fair enough. So, council member, if you would proceed, please.
I was expecting to be on the agenda today. That's my apology. I was told January the 8th, so that's why I'm here. But we had a community meeting early December, so to add to what you were saying about the notice for the community, we sent over 700 invites for the community meeting. We had over 40 people there for the community meeting. And the reason for this proposed four-way stop is we've had several accidents in the last 10 years of this stop. If they'll zoom in for me, that'd be great. I can show you exactly. But it's really close to Cole Elementary School. You can see there are no sidewalks. There are some going to Cole. That's perfect picture. But you can see the sidewalks going to Cole. The house, the brick house that you're looking at right here at the four-way stop, the lady lives there is Catherine Walker. She's lived there she's in her 70s, and she's lived there probably 40 or 50 years. Everybody knows her. The kids knows her. And she was standing in her yard right next to the bush, and she was hit by a car going about 60 miles an hour. Okay? And this four-way stop is in a school zone, and it happened 15 minutes before the kids get let out for school. So I have some pictures there, but I just wanted to, she was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks. She had since had pins and all kinds of metal and screws in her legs, her hip. She survived, which is a great thing. But she is very lucky and blessed to made it through that accident. And I would appreciate you considering this. It is in a school zone, and it's a crazy story. But my wife also had an accident there in 2011 at the same intersection. And the reason I think for it to be such problematic for crashes is there's two blind spots, and you're turning right towards it right now. There's actually a hill that goes down that way. And then actually, if you're looking right towards this way, there's blind spots because there's trees and houses, and you only can see about maybe 40 or 50 feet down the street. We're blessed that she made it. I went to see her in the hospital myself, and I just felt really bad because, I tried a couple times to get this four-way stop, approved, but it didn't approve. But just because of the criteria of the data doesn't suggest that need one there. But the area has changed so much. Lucre Lane, which is on further down Keeley, there's a new subdivision there. It's went in 2012. So the car traffic numbers have really picked up, and I'm sure you'll have the data soon to show that. But my main priority is pedestrian safety. We have 1,000 kids coming from Cole at that time of day. And I'm just so thankful nobody got hurt and it didn't happen during school hours, because during school hours, it is so crazy. People are parking on the side of the street, and there are kids walking. They're literally 5 and 6 wide coming down the sidewalk. But that's kind of, I have some pictures here to spread out and show you what the incident and how far the car came up in her yard. It literally came up within 5 feet of the corner of the house right there. Where was she sitting? She was raking leaves. So she had her back turned, and I'd imagine by the time she heard the crash or heard the noise, it was probably too late because I was going so fast. But she is now home again, and they're saying she's probably going to be a wheelchair rest of her life, because she's going to be a long time before she can walk, because she is in her 70s, and I just feel bad because I'm just glad she's getting hers. And she's been a trooper about it. She's been all positive about it. She knows things happen, but we'd like to see a change here. And I'm sorry I'm a month early, but I'm always sometimes a little early.
So I have seen the data, and I apologize. You shouldn't take this one. It's on me. I should have put this on the agenda because I've seen this. We've looked at the data, and at the advice of Metro Legal, I'll put this on February's agenda. It'll be on the consent. We can ask questions again, and we're not taking action today, but I'll put it on consent agenda for next month, and you're welcome to show up and talk about it, or
Okay.
this body probably has enough information right now anyway, but I just want you to know I'll put it on the agenda.
Council member, thank you for coming today, and again, our apologies for any confusion.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I had a slow day anyway, so. it's not
Okay,
a big
well,
deal.
good. All right, well, good. All right,
Thank
thank
y'all.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
All right. The final item on our agenda is Peter Westerholm is going to come forward and discuss parking smarter in Middle Tennessee. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the commission.
appreciate you coming today.
I
Happy New
appreciate the
Year.
opportunity to be here.
Wait just one second before you discuss. On item 2, we got an email from the mayor's office that asked us to defer that. So I guess if we could get a motion to, my apologies, thank you for helping me out, Ms. Woods. So we have a motion to defer item 2. We have a second, first and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. It's been approved. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Westerholm, thank you very much for coming, and Happy New Year. We'll look forward to your presentation.
Happy New Year to each of you. And Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I appreciate the opportunity to be before you. I wanted to point out a handout that you should have on the table in front of you. It's colorful, it's green and blue and lots of other colors. What I'm wanted to do is walk you through this. Some of you may be aware that the Metropolitan Planning Organization began looking at parking deliberately almost 2 years ago. And we've been doing some studying on this, and we've gone through the process of integrating with the Greater Nashville Regional Council over the past year. And we have not yet completed the final report that will come out. That should be released soon. But in the meantime, this past fall, we put out this report, and I want to go ahead and take an opportunity to go through this with you and address any questions you have, as well as just talk about some things that we've found in our studies of parking throughout the country, looking at different practices and different tools that cities are using to improve their parking experience. So as I began, we've been looking at parking because we recognize that parking plays an integral role in our community conversations around transit, around affordable housing, around economic development, and around land use. And as we get started, I want to go ahead and move on to slide 2, please. As you can see behind you, or do you have it in front of you as well? Okay, great. As you can see, there's an intense response that people have when you talk about parking. And many of you know that I was formerly on the council. I heard about it on a frequent basis. And you guys are obviously in a position where you're hearing about it on at least a monthly basis. So this is something that people have a very strong, often emotional response to. And we have this expectation many times that we expect parking to be free, convenient, and plentiful. But in reality, it's hard to get more than 2 of those to ever occur at the same time. Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So here's one of my favorite pictures I took of and note the part at the very bottom: no change, no refunds, no exceptions, no mercy. As you might expect, this was taken from a lot that was formerly free. Then when it became something that was determined to be a pay lot, someone had the creativity to add that extra bit of signage there, which I think from the neighborhood, I think is probably shared by a number of people. But if you think about why parking triggers such a strong response, it's generally because as parking becomes more scarce in our growing city, it becomes harder to find it. It's harder to find it at a cheaper price that you want to pay. But that's often a good thing for other community goals that we're working on. So as land values become higher, parking that's not developed into buildings generally has to become something that's more productive to keep up with the value of the land on when it resides. Next slide, please. So we ask ourselves, why do we study parking in general? Well, we study it because it influences how we access different parts of our community and how communities feel. You see the pie chart up there that describes 4 different communities that you are all familiar with, and the part that's filled in is the amount of space used for parking. The boundaries for these were determined by the Nashville Next general plan that looked at where are our priority growth areas for these different communities, and what is the current amount of land in these areas devoted to parking. And you think about what different communities might want to have in their communities. So for instance, in Green Hills, you may talk to someone there and they may want more public space, more park space, maybe a dog park, maybe they want some housing for the teachers or workers at the mall. Well, there's plenty of land for that. If you look at, well, you could take maybe 10, 15% of that and reallocate it for something else. But what parking standards often do is they dictate how much space can't be used for business, for retail, for housing, for park space. And the idea being that essentially, if you're requiring more than 3 spots for every 1,000 square feet of building, you're requiring more space for car storage than you are for people and economic activity. Next slide, please. So here's a quote that I thought would be of interest for you, and there's a couple reports I'll mention at the very end of this. But through the city of Nashville, and I've been one of the representatives of this group, has been participating in what we call a Smart Cities Collaborative with a group called Transportation for America. And one of the conversations we've been having, we've been talking about autonomous vehicles, we've been talking about mobility on demand, and we've been talking about the data standards and data performance measures that we think about as transportation planners. But one of the key themes that has come about through that collaborative is that more and more cities are recognizing that the space that you have, that curb space, is one of the most valuable assets that a city has. And generally speaking, it's been one of those that we pay the least amount of attention to. And if we really look at how we manage the curb, how we incentivize or disincentivize certain uses, that reflects back on our values as a community. And so the idea is that, does it reinforce the idea that we want a community to be more people-oriented or more car-oriented? Does it encourage economic activity and a vibrant street life? Is it flexible for the delivery of people or goods or services for businesses in those areas? And does it enhance the livability of that particular community and what our policies are? So as we see more people utilizing transit, ride sharing, more people bicycling, we have to think through how we want our on-street parking and our curb space to facilitate those uses. And in some cases, it may be that we want to change things. In some cases, it may be that we want to do more of what we're doing because it's working already. But the important thing is to recognize that that space is incredibly valuable. Of course, you all probably hear the same articles that I do on a daily basis about autonomous vehicles. And a quick point about that is that I am one who believes that they are going to be coming. I can't give you a special time frame that you don't hear from someone else in the media every day, but I do think that what we'll see with more autonomous and, more importantly, with more shared vehicles where people are using Lyft and Uber more and more frequently is that the importance of our curb space is huge, because more and more people the curb space will only be used for the pickup and drop off of people and for food, beverages, merchandise going in and out of businesses around our corridors and neighborhood centers. For other purposes, cars won't need to be stored on the street, and those areas will then be able to be freed up to serve mass transit, to serve as park space, to serve as retail space, or they could serve as, a lot of cities are repurposing those for bike sharing opportunities. The city can do whatever they want to with that space, whatever it becomes the highest and best use. But there's a lot of opportunities that will come into play as we see these. And a lot of that is detailed in this fold-out in the inside track called The Evolution of Mobility and Curb Management. So as you skim through that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to chat more about that. Next slide, please. All right, cool. This is the key takeaways, and what this is, and this is also included on the handout, and these are takeaways that we found in our study of parking Generally speaking, I'll go through these really quickly. More parking leads to more congestion. I know most of you have probably heard of the concept of induced demand, where you widen a highway and you find that as soon as the highway is done, the traffic is as bad as it was before you added the expansion. Same concept applies to parking. The more parking you supply, the more people will consume it. And so the challenge becomes, you can't really build your way out of congestion, whether it's through traffic congestion or parking congestion. Number two, parking is an underperforming asset with a low ROI. The cost right now, when you talk to a lot of builders, is somewhere between $25,000 and $35,000 per space to build. And with all of the conversations going on about ride sharing and transit and autonomous vehicles, a lot of people, especially in some of the more coastal cities, they're having a hard time getting the underwriters to back up new parking projects because they don't think they'll be able to have enough revenue generated from those to pay off the bonds for those parking garages. And you look at the amount of money they get from those, it's negligible compared to what they could be getting if that space was repurposed for housing or a retail space. And one of the numbers you'll see in there, we thought was fairly conservative, but it was from a study in Portland, that the cost of adding parking onto a multifamily housing added almost 20% to the monthly rent that had to be passed on to either the retail shop owners or the residents of that facility. Next point, today's parking will be tomorrow's housing, retail, and park space. Again, this is the idea that as more people become less reliant on their personal automobile, they don't have to store their automobile as many places. And so as you see a big box store or some other area where you have lots of surface parking, the owners of that property will be incentivized to repurpose more of that for more development or some other creative use that's going to attract more customer activity than you would otherwise have. And then finally, improving parking requires technology, policy change, and the availability of options. And I'm not going to come out before you and say, if you do all these things with parking, it's going to fix everything, because we all know that's just not true. But as we have conversations about mass transit, about active transportation, and about trends with technology and how people think about accessing different parts of town, we have to understand that parking does play a role within each and every one of those conversations. Next slide, please. This is a quick overview of what I mentioned before of what we call parking economics. And there's a couple of different parts on the handout as you open up the first page. This is towards the bottom where it lists parking, land use, and productivity. Not to discount the parts above that. Those are, I'm happy to talk about those as well, but those are more self-explanatory. But I want to touch base on this. This is the same property that's featured in here, though just with a different graphical representation. Many of you may be familiar with this property. It's on Gallatin Road. It was an old Walmart that was put in, and now if you drive by, there is a development. And all this was really intended to show was that they used about 14% of the parking capacity that was there for the big box store, repurposed that for retail, and now they're getting a lot more productivity out of that parcel. Now, from the city's perspective, which I know not all of you are necessarily care about what the city gets, but they're getting more productivity from the revenue base as well. The other point that I'll mention is that what you see is happening is the proposed. I went ahead and added the potential and asked, what if instead of just having the retail on the bottom, they'd added 2 floors of residential above that? It's the same footprint, but you're getting the same lot utilization, but you're getting even more tax revenue generated per square foot at that point. So if you look at how can we use our land as efficiently as possible and get the most bang for our buck, encouraging policies that allow us to have projects like this to happen is a good thing for the retail, and it's a good thing for the city. Next slide, please. So there's a lot on this slide that is a combination of things you'll see throughout this handout. But the simple steps, we'll kind of walk through these real quickly. Embrace smart curb management. What I mean by that is right now it is difficult to really get a grasp of what's happening in our curbs. There are generally 2 ways that we can figure out what's happening in real time. Number one is by having sensors embedded in the ground or affixed to a post nearby that determines whether or not there's a car there. That technology has gotten better, but my personal opinion is that it is still a bit more capital intensive and is still more prone to interference because of weather or because of other projects. Now, the other alternative to that is a camera-based system. You're starting to see that in a lot of downtown privately owned surface lots. Companies have come in, knocked on the doors of these owners of surface lots and said, well, let me put up a couple of cameras, and then that way you can remotely figure out who's come in, who's paid, who's in violation. The technology is out there. And so what we can try to do is use some of that technology to figure out when someone pulls into a spot, are they interacting with a payment system, whether that's something that's there on the side of the street or whether it's an app-based platform. If they can do that, that's great, and you can tell in real time whether or not there's a violation. So your enforcement becomes much more streamlined as well. Number two, I'll say up there, communicate availability. I'm sure in this crowd, you all know that there's over 50,000 spaces to park in downtown Nashville. But if you're going down to a Preds game, you don't really know where those open spaces are. And so that's why we still rely on the age-old technology of a guy in a vest with an orange flag waving at us to say, come park here. There is a better way to do that, but it requires us to have the technology to be able to put that out there to people so that if they choose to drive down to the Preds game, they know exactly where the spaces are. And we also have systems in place now with some operators where you can reserve your spot remotely before you even arrive. The third of those steps is the increase in link mobility options. And this is what I referred to earlier. It requires an all-of-the-above strategy where we've got to have a robust mass transit system, a good bike system, a good walking system, and a smart system for those who use ride shares, because that's going to be, all those will become growing mechanisms that people use to access not just the downtown, not just the Hillsborough Villages and the East Nashvilles and the Germantowns, but for a lot of other places as well, where they may not want to drive or they may not have access to their own personal vehicle. And then finally, align parking standards with broader community goals. If we are to, we've come out and we've said many times that we are a city that wants to become more green. We've said we're a city that wants to have more walkability, more bikeability. We want to have better transit. We want to have great park systems that people can access. All the plans that have come out of the last couple of administrations have been heavily focused on these types of community conversations. And sometimes we find that the parking standards that we employ run counter to the goals of these particular community plans. So I think it's important to revisit and make sure that we're providing a consistent message across the board. A quick note on the strategies and technology that I would recommend that we think about as a community. Demand-based pricing is something that's been utilized in a number of cities now that basically looks at what is the current usage of a block for on-street parking, and then how do you adjust the price to get your optimal rate of availability. What they will tell you is that you really want about 80 to 85% of a block occupied, which translates to about 1 or 2 open spaces per block. And you can use price as a mechanism to push people or incentivize them to stay somewhere, or to push them to go move on, if based on that rate of your price. I'm always a big fan of progressive pricing, which what that means is that rather than having a 2-hour or a 4-hour limit, you just raise the price at any given time increment. So if you have an area in Hillsborough Village, for instance, where you think, we want to have the first 30 minutes or the first hour free, you can still have that. But if someone wants to stay beyond that, that first hour might be $1 or $2, but then if they're there for 5 and 6 hours, those need to be at the $4 or $5 or $6 per hour, just to nudge them out, while still allowing them the opportunity to stay in the area and keep spending money. Because the last thing you want to do, if someone's spending 4 hours in your business district spending money, you don't want to force them to move their car if they don't have to. You want them to keep spending money, and just maybe that last hour or two, charge them $1 or $2 more than you did the previous hour. And then we've already touched on real-time sensors, integration with platforms. There's a number of different apps that are already out there and that will be coming out online soon. You don't have to create your own app. You just have to make sure that what's out there is going to integrate with what's already out there. Helpful hints, I'll let you guys read through those with a couple exceptions. The reinvest revenue is the number 2 there for street improvements. That is one thing that's come back time and time again as a best practice. Right now, I don't want to speak for the mayor's office, but they're considering a partnership with an outside firm to help them with some parking management strategies. And one of the things we've been talking about is where do the revenues go for that? And one of the best practices that we've seen time and time again is to give a portion of that back to the community where those funds came from. So if I'm going to 12 South, I might not mind spending $2 an hour to park if I know that those $2, a portion of that's going to go back into that community and have better sidewalks, better lighting, things of that sort that I as a customer or the business owners or residents might want. That's a win for everyone. And that's something that makes it much more palatable for the customers who want to pay that. And again, keep it easy to keep spending money in your business districts. Obviously, with the technology, you can simplify enforcement. And then just the other idea is that people-friendly areas generate more revenue than areas that aren't. And that's something that we've seen in study after study of business districts that are much more pedestrian-friendly. So next slide, and we're almost done. I left a few resources for you, and this, I know, Chip, you guys have this presentation. I'm sure he'll be happy to email it to you. I have a lot more resources. If you guys want to dig in any further, I can send you studies all day long. But rather than place a big burden on you, I picked out these 3 in particular because I thought they would be of interest to you. And then I think the final slide is just my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. But I'm also here for as long as you want to keep me today to answer questions as well. So with that, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Westone. That's very interesting. Thank you for the lead behind you left with. Any comments from commissioners, please?
I've got a couple of questions. This was great information. Where's the free parking? Number one, I mean, if someone's looking for free parking, I know we're fortunate and can park for a short period of time, those of us who have to drive to meetings here. But are there any secrets we can tell people? You've got free parking here for a while, or?
I would say that there are still places in many parts of town where parking is free. In fact, you could point to downtown and say it's free parking on the street after 6 every night. Now, what that does is that encourages people to drive downtown and spend their time trying to find one of those free spots. The trade-off that you have is that for the availability of free parking and people knowing that there might be free parking encourages more people to come to that area. And so in downtown Nashville, for instance, and many other downtown studies have shown that a high percentage, and by high I'm thinking 20 to 30% of the congestion, is directly attributable to people looking for a place to park. And so I would suggest that it's more efficient to push someone towards the easiest spot to get into, even if there's a price attached to that. Now, I understand if you're thinking, well, if it was a price, if the discrepancy was between free for on-street or $30 to park a block down from the Preds game, we're all going to prefer that free parking. I get that. And I would say good luck finding the free parking on a Preds night.
I just didn't know there was a secret. I just wanted to know.
There is no secret that I've been able to come up with. I will say that sometimes I take advantage of parking by the Titan Stadium and walk across the bridge when I'm coming downtown. The trade-off is that it can be cold, it can be windy, it can be rainy, but that's the trade-off.
But it's healthy.
Yeah, it's healthy. You get some steps in there, yes.
Again, like I said, it's great information. I would encourage you all to keep pressing forward. My one concern, I think transit, a lot of things coming to Nashville are great, but we're not there yet. There are some of us that have to get around in a car. They can't rely on Lyft all of the time. That we have to have our cars to get to certain places, so
Sure.
Working with that. And then it's no secret that for years I was in retail, and I was amazed to see all of the amount of parking in Hillsborough Village, but the secret is coming up with some kind of balance of turnover. I mean, and that's a win-win for everyone. It's turnover in pedestrian safety.
And that's the goal of having, of charging for parking. The goal of any charged parking system shouldn't, from a city's perspective, if you're a private developer, you have a very different perspective on this. But from a city's perspective, for the curb management and the on-street parking spaces, your goal is never to make money. Even though as you look through this, I did include how much revenue you could likely obtain, but all that is not to suggest that that's a revenue grab. You only want to charge the lowest amount you can to ensure there's 1 or 2 spaces available per block. The idea of charging for parking is not to make revenue per se. It's just to keep people from being there 4, 5, 6 hours who don't need to be there for 4, 5, 6 hours, like whether it's an employee of one of the businesses or someone who's just parked their car there because they're working at a job site a few blocks away, whatever the situation is. Garages and things and surface lots, those are designed for longer-term parking.
Well, the turnover is a good goal. That's what you want to have, and you're also going to have to balance that with more transit as it comes down, because you don't want to do away with pedestrian-friendly places like 12th South, Hillsborough Village, places that you're supposed to be able to walk around. And
I agree.
A lot of the new developments are modeling themselves on that. If you look at what Hill Realty's done with a lot of their things, they're places for cars to park for a short period of time and people feel safe, sort of like an outdoor mall. So balancing all of that are things you have to think about, especially with this group, if we're looking at pedestrian safety too.
Sure, that's an important point.
So you don't want a highway going through places too and speeding cars. But thank you and good luck. It's great information.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from folks?
Sure, I just wanted to concur with Commissioner Woods. Excellent job. This is fantastic. Appreciate all the work that you and the MPO have done. I was just curious, can you download this brochure? Is it available on the MPO's website?
It will be soon. So
Okay.
This is one of those things that has been delayed just a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, the MPO is integrated with the Greater Nashville Regional Council. We're redoing our websites. So when that is done, it will be available for download as well as our full report on parking.
Great,
So
thank
there
you.
will be, and I'll be happy to, when that happens, to send notification to Chip to share with everyone. But I do have some extra copies if anyone wants to take one home. I told some people before the holidays that they make great stocking stuffers. But I do have a couple extras just in case you have anyone else on your naughty or nice list that needs something.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Westerham. This was very informative. Okay. Councilmember Allen, did you have something you wanted to address to the commission, please?
I had on my records that my commercial permit parking might be up today, and I just wanted to be here if it was being discussed. So y'all can provide me information and let me know where we are on that, if you don't mind.
We are always glad and happy to see you.
You're so nice.
You know what she's talking about? This is the commercial permit. Can you give us some status update?
I think we were waiting on comments on that.
Yeah, we have comments to be returned, and then we were kind of waiting on, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but we were waiting on some legal advice on how to proceed. What I want to talk to you about, Council Lady, is we talked about some temporary action
Correct.
for the immediate problem you got going on. I still want to handle that.
Correct.
But I think where we left off is we still need a little more time before we bring it before this body, and I think
Great.
you were going to go before council with it. We want to get you our comments back, and maybe
Okay.
the holiday set us off a little bit, but it wasn't on our agenda for today.
That's perfect. I just was afraid I had missed it when I looked him up. But I'm glad I got to hear Mr. Westerholm, because I thought that was happening earlier too. And I appreciate all he's doing. And if we could get that first hour free in Hillsborough Village, that might solve a lot of these problems. So thank you very much for all that y'all do.
Thank you, council member. Okay, just real quick before we adjourn, I'm going to take a personal privilege to, one, I thank everyone this past month for all your thoughts, prayers, kindness, consideration with my recent surgery. I'm feeling much, much better, and it's great to know that I have such good, besides being my fellow commissioners, such good friends on this commission, and I thank everyone for their kindness, and I'll say the same to the council member who was equally kind. So, and our police officer is missing, so we need someone to make a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
We have a first?
Second.
A second? All in favor? Aye. The motion's, see everyone on the 12th.
We're glad you're here.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.